fun with football. When do you think you're going to hang it up?
Tony Kornheiser, sometime after the big finish, but before we take that Sports Center segment, I'm not doing that.
I figured you try to find a way to skip out on that, baby.
Yeah, that one, yeah. I'll do the big finish, though. I think that's good. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Urban Meyer releases Tim Tebow, Joel Embiid signs an extension, and Sean Payton has a quarterback dilemma. But we begin today with our new best friend, Dak Prescott. Prescott practiced lightly last night, and head coach Mike McCarthy said that if Prescott doesn't play in this Saturday's third exhibition game, he won't play in the exhibition season at all. Now, Wilbon, McCarthy and Jerry Jones had previously said it was important for Prescott to play before the actual season started. Do you think it's important he plays in the exhibition games?
Tony, I don't know about important. I think it's important he get healthy. That's important, however you measure that. Whether you need to see him in an exhibition game, if you're preseason game, if you're the coach, okay. But first of all, I don't believe anything that any of these coaches and owners and GMs say during the preseason because it doesn't matter. It's like saying, okay, this guy's my starter. They announced the starter in February. No, he's not your starter because you don't have any games in February, March, April, May, June, July, or August. So stop. So in the case of Dak Prescott, who now has his money, they need to make sure he's healthy going forward. They don't need to lie to the public. They don't need to state it over and over again to this interview and put it on social media. They need to know whether or not he's healthy and put him out there and see if he can play when that is determined.
Yeah, I don't think it's important he plays in exhibition games at all. He's been there 5 years. He knows the personnel. Mike McCarthy's offense is not rocket science, but like you, I want to know, is he healthy? I think if he was completely healthy, Mike McCarthy would stand up and shout from the rooftops, get off him, get off me, he's 100% good, we're all right. I haven't heard that. I've heard precautionary MRIs. I've heard let's send him to the Texas Rangers to be looked at. I think the Cowboys have allowed the medical sort of uncertainty to simmer and linger. I'll tell you this, Mike, if I ran the Cowboys, I'd put him out there in this exhibition game for one series. So I can say to people, shut up. Now, I don't know that I'd let him pass the ball.
If he passes
the ball, if he passes the ball like Cam Newton from last year, then we got a problem. I just think we're going to have this story for a while. I do.
You know what, Tony? I think people need to stop making declarations during the preseason. It's the damn preseason. Go about your business, get the team ready, stop posting things on social media, and shut up. But they're not going to do that. And the medical uncertainty is what they commented on every day, and that's why we have this. The tight end experiment is over for Tim Tebow. The Jaguars released Tebow this morning after he struggled blocking in his first preseason game. Coach Urban Meyer said Tebow's lack of tackling experience kept him from contributing then to special teams, adding, quote, players loved him, locker room loved him, but it was the right thing, close quote. Tone, what does the Jaguars' release of Tebow say to you about Urban Meyer and his transition to the NFL?
I don't, Mike, think it says anything sweeping at all. I think he looked at Tim Tebow, who he loved from college and probably brought him on for sentimental reasons, and decided he couldn't play in the NFL as a tight end, which doesn't surprise anybody because he was a quarterback, and it's hard to make that transition. I think when you cut a guy from going from 90 players to 85 players, that's way different than cutting from 55 to 50. When you cut a guy from 90 to 85 in the first cut, you're saying it's over, son. This is not something you can do. And Urban Meyer's got to win games. He's not Santa Claus. You know, this is what this is the job he took.
You know, when I heard this, Tony, this morning, this meant nothing to me about Urban Meyer. I didn't even think about Urban Meyer. It meant something to me about Tim Tebow, who, you know, it's not like we're boys, but I've talked to Tim Tebow a few times in my life and actually some conversations that meant something to me to listen to him. And I like Tim Tebow. You know, I always have. I thought some of these things about some of the hype was crazy, but I just like him. I like hearing him. He's been on this network, probably other networks too. I like listening to him. I hope this means he will now do what so many others have done before him. When time is up on whatever the field or diamond or court is, and they find the microphone in a blazer and they go, oh, this is pretty good because I can stay right here. I sit next to somebody often who a lot more famous than Tim Tebow, Magic Johnson. When it was over, it's over. and you go, okay, here's a new role. I think Tim Tebow can be great in that. He's a star. He's fun to listen to. He is a nice person in my experience. I don't care about Urban Meyer and the Jaguars. I could give a damn. But I want to hear Tim Tebow. I hope he's front and center continuously.
So Tim Tebow has been on television. He's got a job on television.
Yes.
And Mike, it obviously does not satisfy him completely.
Well,
he appears to be a career athlete. He has tried baseball. He's tried football. Look, there are things he could do. I mean, he could go on America Ninja Warrior, or they could bring back, ABC could bring back Battle of the Network Stars, and he could host it, he could be on it, or he could do what Herschel Walker did. He could push a bobsled. The Winter Olympics are about an hour and a half away, and he could do that. And I will take up for your point. I like Tim Tebow as well. I think he's a surrogate for all of us in a way that he keeps trying. He's always happy about it. He's never discouraged. He thanks everybody for giving him the opportunity. I sort of think he's Peter Pan. And I hope it works out, but eventually he's going to have to become an adult like the rest of us.
But you're not a lifetime athlete, Tone. You're not a lifetime athlete because it's father time. Either father time and he is 34, or you're just not good enough.
He's only in his 30s.
And it's okay. He tried.
He's only in his 30s.
He's so great for trying. God bless him. I love that about him too. But it's
I don't think he'll go camp to camp, but I think he'll try something. I do. Okay. Joel Embiid has agreed to a supermax deal with the 76ers that will keep him in Philadelphia through 2027 and will pay him a total of $261 million, including $54 million in the final year. The contract is fully guaranteed, and it contains no catastrophic injury clause that would alleviate the financial burden on the 76ers. Wilbon, is this a risky investment by Philadelphia?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course it is, Tony. It's risky anytime you do this and the person hasn't yet gotten you to a conference final. It's risky just on the performance level, right? And then you got the health level. Although Embiid's been healthier, those first 2 years, he's missed. He redshirted, and he's been better. I think he missed 11 games this year before the playoffs. So Embiid has shown his willingness to play through these injuries. He played with a torn meniscus, or at least a partially torn meniscus, and he's a great player, all right? I know I'm higher on him than you are. I'll ride with Joel Embiid anytime. The question for the Sixers ain't about Joel Embiid primarily. The big risk is, what are you going to do with Ben Simmons? Because they don't have a number 2 player. You need a number 2 guy who's also almost number 1. They don't know. We don't know whether he's going to be on that team. I would trade him, but it's less a risk than the Ben Simmons situation that's playing out in Philadelphia right now, but still a risk.
So my first reaction was, my God, this is a tremendous amount of money.
Yeah.
When you think about all the people in all the countries that say, if I could make $1 million a year, I would crawl through fire on broken glass. And it's just a staggering sum of money. Now, is he worth it? Okay. Let's go to those injuries and what he's done. Let's just go to the last 4 years. He missed 18 games 3 years ago, played 64. Missed 22 2 years ago, played 51. Missed 21 this past year, played 51. So he's now playing about 70% of the time. So is it risky? Yeah, it's risky. Is it stupid risky? No, I don't think it's stupid risky. And as you say, he tried to play in the playoffs with this injury, with a torn meniscus. Can they beat the Nets? I don't think they can beat the Nets. But like you, I'm not going to pin that all on Embiid. I mean, what are you doing with Ben Simmons? What is the rest of your team? So even I think he's yappy, and I don't particularly like him, even I would try to keep him for as long as they're going to try and keep him. He's 27 years old. You can't, if you get rid of him, you're not getting another guy as good as him. You're not.
Tony, put it this way. They had to sign him. Even if we agree it's risky, they still had to do it. You ain't going to catch Brooklyn without Joel Embiid. All right, so you better make him the centerpiece, literally and figuratively, of what you are doing.
And you're not going to catch Milwaukee either without him. You're just not. Let's take a break. Coming up, should Sean Payton replace Drew Brees with Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill?
And would the Cubs and Reds deliver a good sequel to last week's Field of Dreams game? No, and no.
Do you think that he's a creature of habit? What's first?
Toss up, who should Sean Payton start in Game 1? Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston?
Sean Payton has had time to figure this out. He's had both these guys on his squad for more than a year now, and he has known that Drew Brees was going to leave eventually. So this shouldn't be that hard for him. If it was me, I would start Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston has a big arm. Jameis Winston won a national championship. Jameis Winston was the #1 overall pick of the NFL draft, and he's an actual true quarterback. Yes, he throws a lot of interceptions, Mike, but he throws a lot of touchdown passes too. Taysom Hill is a gimmick. He's fun to watch. I think if you put him out there all the time, I have the same fears for him that I have for Lamar Jackson, that he'll run all the time and he's going to get hurt, so I wouldn't do that. Jameis Winston has been more effective in the exhibition games so far than Taysom Hill. If we're talking about game one, Mike, I'm not saying you commit to him for the whole season, but I think you commit to him for the first game because he's a real quarterback.
Aren't there 2 more preseason games to go? Don't people like you slobber over football to the point, and everybody at every network, including this one, oh, football's back. Well, if it's back, and there's 2 more preseason games to go, then play the damn preseason games and watch what they do. Play each one of them the first half in the next 2 games. Why have the games? You're a coach. Use your eyes. You can also use all the numbers that your people gather. Why not watch what they do? What do you want to have, a combine and determine it that way? Put them on the field and let them play. Let somebody separate himself from the other guy, if he hasn't already, in these 2 preseason games. Or get these damn games out of my life.
Wilbon, you're so angry today. You've used the word damn 27 times. You're like heading for a new record. What's next?
Toss up. Who would you rather see in next year's Field of Dreams game? The Cubs and the Reds or a Yankees-White Sox rematch?
So it's being reported that it's going to be the Cubs and the Reds, which is why we're doing this story. Look, it's awful. The Cubs stink right now.
Yeah.
And the Cubs are going to stink again next year.
Yes, they are.
Cincinnati, nobody can name anybody on Cincinnati except for Joey Votto. And there are a lot of intelligent people out there who always confuse Joey Votto and Joey Gallo. Why do you put the Cubs and the Reds on? Because they're Midwestern teams. And they're playing this thing in an Iowa cornfield. I completely understand that. Why would you put the White Sox and Yankees on again? For the very simple reason, it had the highest rating of a regular season game in the last 15 years. People liked watching it. And Chicago's a Midwestern team, and everybody was rooting for Chicago in that game. Let them have this thing again. If you want the Cubs on down the road, I get it. Wait another year or so and put the Cubs on with the White Sox. But next year, repeat what you did because it worked.
Baseball got this right. They got the ballpark and the cornfield right. They got everything about it right. The 2 teams, you get lucky with that in a great game. But is baseball going to go back to being so stupid so quickly? The Cubs aren't just bad, Tony. The Cubs, for the first time in their 146-year history, have 2 losing streaks in one season of 11 games or more. It's 12 now. They stink like they've never stunk before for a franchise that has homecoming mat written all over it for most of the last 140 years. And you want to put them in the field? No. You may have to wait 108 more years before you put, this is my team. I won't even go back down that river 8 minutes and turn off to go to Wrigley Field to see them. I won't go see them here. Nobody wants to see the Cubs until they get to be good again. White Sox, Yankees, don't be stupid, even though Major League Baseball majors in that.
That's it. Let's take one last break. Still to come, the Seahawks reportedly get a deal done with Jamal Adams.
And
Jackie McMullen. The NBA schedule's slow roll. We get a bit of it today, we get a bit of it tomorrow, next week. And in an incredible development, everybody plays everybody this year. And Frank Isola has the Knicks going 82-0. Who knew?
At least.
Let's go.
There's another game, 83. That's right. And preseason.
All on Kemba Walker, man. Right.
NBA schedule, the opening night, the Milwaukee Bucks, the champs, take it on the Brooklyn Nets and Lakers Warriors. And then the Christmas Day lineup, Hawks at Knicks, with Knicks undefeated being put to the test in the house that Trey remodeled, Frank Isola. And the one you could bet your life on, Lakers and Nets Christmas Day. All right, so we get all that out of the way. Let's talk some contractual news today from the NBA. Sixers and Joel Embiid nearing the Supermax 4-year, $196 million. And up to the moment we're hearing, it is now done. Frank Isola, what does it do for Embiid? What does it do for Philly? And do you see a title within reach for Philadelphia with this move?
Yeah, I would have been shocked had they given that contract to Ben Simmons. Obviously, Embiid is their future. He's one of the top players in the league. But we know the deal with Joel Embiid. Can he stay healthy? He missed the first 2 years of his career. He's never played in more than 64 games. Give him a lot of credit. He had a partially torn meniscus, and he played in the playoffs against Atlanta. But injuries have been an issue, and he's never been out of the second round. And to answer your last question, the team right now, to me, not good enough to win 4 playoff rounds to win a championship. No.
Mm-hmm. To build your team around a center in today's NBA. Jackie Mack, I'll bring you in here thinking that.
Absolutely. There hasn't been an MVP at center, unless you count Jokic, which I don't, because I don't really think he's a center. Since 2000, I don't. I think he's a power forward that shoots the lights out. But Shaq was the last true center from 2000. But this is why I would pay Embiid all the money and then some. Never mind the magnetic personality. I've spent a lot of time around Joel. This guy wants to win. He's not going to stop till he wins. He changed his diet. He hired a nutritionist. He changed the way he trained. By the way, also represented himself in these negotiations. Fired CAA, did this on his own. He's got laser vision in terms of what he wants to accomplish. Think about him as I think he's got all the tools to maybe be the greatest big man ever. He's got size, strength. He can shoot. He can defend.
Hold on a second. Say that again. All the tools to be the greatest big man ever?
Has a chance to be one of the great. Because can you name another big man that can shoot threes like him?
Yeah.
I can't think of one. Can you?
Linton Yates, I'll bring you in here.
I love everything the way that has come together in this. 3 years ago, if you had said that Joel Embiid would have turned things around and as a new father been the leader of the Sixers in order to make this team a contender in the East, people would have said you're crazy. They were questioning his judgment. They were questioning what his commitment to the game was. And now he's clearly turned that around. The guy could have been first team All-NBA last season. So to give him the money, I don't think is any questions asked on what that was going to happen there. And I think if you're going to look at a team like, I don't know, the Milwaukee Bucks, who just came home with the title, you can see you get somebody who's good enough, you can find a way to build around them, and in a couple seasons down the line, you have a chance at a title. That's what the Sixers are looking at right now. And if we trusted the process, I guess we could say the process has gotten to a point that we can like.
And Sarah Spain.
Yeah, he is the process, right? You're clear that he's going to be the guy you keep around and you build around. There's bigger questions about whether it can happen with Ben Simmons. I'm of the opinion that you move on, you turn Ben Simmons into other pieces that you could put around Embiid, and I do see a title in the future. I actually thought this year they had a really good shot at it. Things didn't go the way that they had hoped, but there's never any question about what Joel Embiid can do, especially as Jackie pointed out, with all the dedication to his body and his health in the offseason. The question is, how often can he do it because of those injuries? This contract doesn't have the protections for the team that the last one did. So they clearly believe that he has evolved into the kind of guy you don't